CEO Mark Penn joined me with more. Let's take a look.
Well, I think we reported a very strong fourth quarter. I think that was on top of a strong third quarter. We really saw the second half of the year with Stagwell showing really within the industry, really becoming the pace setter in terms of growth. And we're up to almost $400 million of net new business. And we've won accounts like cars from General Motors, Starbucks, Visa, Target. Really some really big major wins that are helping to propel the business. And we had 22% growth in our digital transformation. And for those of you who've been following the company, digital transformation was weaker in 23, and really by the second half of 24 has come roaring back here as companies really need to use AI and apply AI in their consumer communications.
Interesting. What more can you share about that digital transformation? As we know, artificial intelligence does remain the buzzword.
Well, I think if you've got a website of any kind or an e-commerce site of any kind, you're going to have to redo it to incorporate AI, because AI fundamentally makes the way that consumers interface with technology much easier, much more consumer friendly, and really what you have now is completely outmoded compared to what it can be. And AI also can take data and information we have about people and quickly customize the experience that people are getting online. And in those two ways, you're going to have to look at what you've got, redo it. And we're beginning to see the customers know that first there was the internet, then there was mobile, and now there's AI.
And we know that the beginning of the year, Mark, is always a busy time for executives and leaders traveling around the world, setting up business for the new year. Where have your business travels taken you, and what have been the takeaways from those trips?
Well, I just got back from trips in Asia and in the Mideast. I often say the Mideast is the new China, meaning that I think that it's a really incredible investment opportunity. We at Stagwell over the last year made several critical investments, including Consulum and now a new digital transformation firm out there. We have 400 or 500 people now in the Mideast. Able to really handle, I think, the emerging transformation of that economy. And then we just did a deal in Asia where we acquired the offices of ADK Global and added about 7 new markets. So we also have a very complete offering out in Asia. So we've taken our assets in the US and Europe now, and we've really more or less doubled our capabilities in the Mideast and Asia. And I think those are all great growth markets. I think right now, Europe seems to be the laggard, Latin America a bit of a laggard. The US, I believe the Mideast, and then Asia are the 3 areas where I see a lot of growth in marketing in the coming years.
Mark, I see that there was a recent study that did show 58% of voters are more satisfied with President Donald Trump's job as president than with Joe Biden. What more can you tell us about that particular study?
Sure. I do a monthly study that I'm a co-director of, the Harvard Caps Harris poll. And of course, Harris is part of Stagwell. And that poll for 7 years tracks every month what's going on in the country. That's all online at harvardharrispolls.com. Take a look at all the data. But fundamentally, it did show that people are much more satisfied with President Trump compared to President Biden. In fact, right now, many of his policies are really quite popular. He's still fighting on job approval because I think Americans take a wait-and-see attitude. But the assessment of Biden is kind of harshly negative in retrospect, and numbers for the Democrats also going down quite considerably.
Interesting. So amid the backdrop of this conversation, obviously have been real-time adjustments to trade policy, including tariffs, concessions, and frankly, more clarity that Wall Street is looking for. What do you see as the potential impact of tariffs?
Well, obviously, we in the marketing industry, we don't really pay tariffs because we're not really in the business of importing and exporting. I think I see some nervousness out there with customers over what's going to happen with tariffs, and I try to tell them, for most industries, if you look at the economy, about 11% of it is imports. We're talking about tariffs on maybe half of it. So we're talking about maybe a 1% increase, something we've seen happens virtually every couple of months in inflation. So we're not really talking huge numbers in terms of the overall economy. So like most things, Wall Street can often get over exuberant, and then it can get over nervous. I think they're going to have to let this tariff policy play out a little bit more with a little less nervousness when you actually look at the overall numbers on this.
And Mark, what else is on the horizon for Stagwell as we approach the spring?
Well, look, I think this is going to be a big year for digital transformation in particular. I think that the whole way that you communicate, right, with your customers now through technology can radically be changed. That every single brand has to have its own personalized bot that really represents the community, much like their own name. And I also think we see continued expansion in the digital advertising marketplace. I think linear TV continues to go down. More and more TV is addressable. We're finishing some of our latest tools that utilize AI that enable people to plan their communications, plan their influencer marketing campaigns, do their own research, and then also operate on a very large scale in our partnership with Adobe to handle thousands and tens of thousands of pieces of content. So we're really seeing this new transformation of marketing from what people think of in the old days of doing a TV ad and then calling up the station to a very, very sophisticated enterprise that combines creativity with technology.